When the GoPro 10 came out, everyone else was worried about overheating. But for me, I was worried about how it was going to do in cold weather. GoPro is hoping to address these concerns with a special cold weather battery, the Enduro. And now that winter is finally here, it's time to pop this battery into a GoPro Hero 10 and take it for a run. We are about 30 minutes into the run here on a Wednesday morning in Chicago. Pretty cold day out today. Temperatures are in the teens. Winds are super insane. So the wind chill's a lot lower than that. Gonna test out the GoPro Hero 10 and the Enduro battery in cold weather. 45 minutes into the run and already the GoPro has gone into no screen mode. When it gets to be a certain level of cold, it'll still record and it'll work, but you don't get the front facing screen or the rear screen until it warms up a little bit. But at least it's still running. We are a little bit over 1 hour into the run and GoPro's still going strong. I've also got the screen back, so even though it hasn't gotten any warmer out here, it's actually gotten colder. The screen seems to be working. Now sometimes that happens when, if I haven't used the camera in a while, the first time I use it, it's cold, and so the screen doesn't turn on. Then if I use it a couple more times, or leave it on longer, it'll warm up, and then the screen will come back. So once it goes, it doesn't mean it completely goes away, but it doesn't always completely make sense to me. But so far, so good. It is now 1 hour and 15 minutes into the run. Winds are picking up. It's so cold. My face is very numb, but this GoPro is still working. I'm not seeing any screens right now. I do see a flashing light. So I think we're still getting some footage. 90 minutes into the run for today. My face is numb. My sinuses are starting to feel really uncomfortable. But GoPro's still working. I'm not getting a screen right now, but I am getting footage. So that's the important part. And I'm getting the blinking LED light, so I know that at least it's working. Almost done. 10.47 miles, 8 minutes, 55 seconds per mile on an easy run today in what, according to Strava, is 21 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. So not as cold as I thought it was, but the winds were pretty intense, with Strava reporting 22 mile per hour winds. Perfect weather to test the brand new Enduro battery from GoPro. Now, before I give you my thoughts on this battery and to give you the results of my from like late fall to winter testing with a variety of different batteries. Before I talk about that, I do want to go over some disclosures. Everything that I'm talking about today, all the batteries, all the cameras, everything is stuff that I bought myself. No one sent it to me. No one's paying me to make this video. And no one's gonna get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the GoPro Hero 10 cold weather performance and both the regular batteries, the GoPro Hero 9 battery and the Enduro battery. First, let's talk about the Enduro battery and let's go over some specs. This is a 1720 milliamp hour battery, which is the exact same in terms of how much capacity it has as the regular battery that comes with the GoPro. But this battery is supposed to give you 40% more recording time, at least according to GoPro, at moderate temperatures. So like all things being equal, like at room temperature, I think that's what they mean by moderate temperatures. The Enduro battery somehow is supposed to be sipping on that 1720 milliamp hours of juice. and will give you 40% more recording time. It also is supposed to give you 13% faster recharge time, which I think is pretty useful, especially for most of you out there who probably don't have a bunch of batteries and a bunch of like separate chargers. You're probably charging the battery in the GoPro itself. That 13% faster, I think, does make a big difference. But the most important thing that I'm interested in is the claim that GoPro makes that this Enduro battery dramatically, that's their word, dramatically increases cold weather performance in temperatures as low as 14 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 10 degrees Celsius. Now, today my testing, technically the temperature, at least the thermometer temperature, was above that 14 degrees Fahrenheit, but the wind chill definitely brought it a lot further down. And subsequent to the video footage that you just saw, it's been getting colder and colder in Chicago. So I've had it as low as 3 degrees Fahrenheit in terms of air temperature. And I have a couple of kind of very anecdotal, but testing experiences to give you about that as well. So with the specs being taken care of, let's talk about some of these experiences. And I think the best way to talk about this is to kind of talk about the GoPro Hero 9 battery, the GoPro Hero 10 battery, and then the Enduro. Now, while they have the exact same connectors and the batteries work interchangeably in between the GoPro Hero 9 and the GoPro Hero 10, I got some very peculiar results at some relatively moderate temperatures that weren't really that cold. So when I first got the camera, it was a little bit, I think, after the Chicago Marathon. Usually the GoPros come out after the Chicago Marathon in middle of October. So the first race that I took this GoPro to, while I'd been using it every day, the first race that I took it to was the New York Marathon. So while I was out there, I had a shakeout run. I did a collab shakeout run with Emily Heller of Run Like Heller. We had a group run in Central Park. And the temperature that day, I think, was in the mid 40s to low 50s. And I had a blue battery, one of these two blue batteries in the GoPro. And on that day, I was really concerned about the GoPro Hero 10 and cold weather performance, because on a day where I wasn't even wearing gloves, or was I wearing gloves? But on a day where it really wasn't that cold, I was seeing cold weather performance issues. So things that would happen were that the camera would turn on, it would start recording for a little bit, a handful of seconds, and then maybe I was trying to talk to the camera or show an extended scene of something that I'm recording, that I'm looking at, and all of a sudden I would get a very quick warning saying that it's too cold, it's shutting down. And this happened to me a lot, and it was really disappointing, because while I was on the run in Central Park on the group run, I ran into a handful of professional athletes. Some of them I was able to actually talk to and exchange a couple of words, others I just said hi to, but those that I wanted to have those conversations with, the clips cut short because the camera was saying that it was too cold. So that was extremely disappointing, and I really couldn't figure out what it was. But what I found out, fortunately, before the day of the marathon, and it worked out well so I could get some longer clips during the race itself, was that there is a difference between the GoPro Hero 9 and the GoPro Hero 10 batteries. I think what's going on is one battery is a year older than the other. And you could tell how old the batteries are because they're stamped with a date on the back. And so one of my batteries that came with the GoPro Hero 10 has a date of 2021. That's this one here. Let's see if you could see it. I'm not sure if it's gonna be able to catch that. It's right down here, right by this little code. And then the other has a date that is in 2020. And the one that goes with the 2020 date, that one corresponds to the GoPro Hero 9. So I thought, you know what, now I have two batteries that I can use on a really long day, like out filming a marathon is gonna be perfect. So I thought that I could just use these interchangeably because they both do operate and turn on the camera. But I had all my cold weather problems, or what seemed like cold weather problems, with the GoPro Hero 9 battery. But when I used and made sure I was using the GoPro Hero 10 battery, I didn't have any problems at all, at least not at like 40 degree to 50 degree temperature. So I felt like all was good. Then I did some additional kind of like just not testing really, but just using the camera. And from that point, only ever using the GoPro Hero 10 battery, even though the GoPro Hero 9 battery fits. I was never using it. I just like put this one away, and I was only using the GoPro Hero 10 battery. And that worked pretty well for me, even to like freezing temperature type of conditions. Even when I was out for a long time at freezing temperature, I didn't experience any cold weather issues at all. I still got the thing where like it's cold enough where the front screen and the rear screen wouldn't turn on until the camera like warmed up a little bit. But in terms of function, the camera, the LED flashes in the front, the camera's recording footage. I'm not losing anything. I'm able to record even very long clips like I recorded today. I was able to do it with the regular GoPro Hero 10 battery. For a camera where they're worried about overheating, so they're probably making it so that as much heat dissipates from this camera as possible, I felt like I felt pretty good about it because after all, I had this Enduro battery. So I've been testing the Enduro battery, and right when I got it, of course, then like Chicago hits a warm spell and it didn't really get that cold. But fortunately, when I was back in Iowa for Christmas with my in-laws, it did get cold there, and we were routinely in the 20s and in the teens. And at no point during any of those runs did I have a failure of the camera because of cold weather. I got the screens turning off thing, that like kind of self-preservation mechanism, so it can warm up or at least still record even though the camera itself is really cold. But the battery always worked for me. So I never had any problem, and my runs there were probably, I don't think I had any that were longer than 2 hours, but I was definitely out there for a long time in some very cold conditions. So I was very impressed with it there. Then the following week we went to Connecticut with where my sister lives. It was really warm. It was like, again, in the 40s and 50s again. But then coming back to Chicago, now we're kind of like in a wintry blast. And so on the running footage that you saw today, for over an hour and a half, I'm able to still use the camera. Sometimes the front and rear screen turn on, sometimes they don't, but the battery is doing its job. The camera is able to fire up, record the footage that I want, even a longer clip. It's not cutting me off. It's not like auto shutting down because it's too cold, and I'm able to get all the footage that I want. Even the next day was a little bit colder. I think that when we were in like the 10s, maybe like 12 or 13 degrees Fahrenheit. And then 2 days after the running footage that I showed you, that it got really cold. It was cold enough that news crews were out along the lakefront hoping to catch a runner going by so they can interview, like, look at these weird runners. They're still running even though it's this cold out. And so I did get interviewed, and I was on the local news today. And so even under those temperatures, again, it was another hour and a half run. I think hour and 27 minutes out there. And I was able to get all the footage that I wanted. The screen was off pretty much after like 20 minutes, and I never saw the screen turn on again, but at least the camera is working, and I'm confident enough in how the GoPro works, and that LED is large enough for me to be able to see that it is in fact operating. So I feel like I can work with this. I would love it if the screens turned on, like if that could still be a thing. But if the trade-off is the screen turns off, but the camera works even in much colder temperatures. And this, hopefully I'm not running in temperatures much colder than 3 degrees Fahrenheit, or pretty much right around the 0 mark for Fahrenheit. But in case I am, I feel confident that the battery is going to do pretty well. I think that at this point, the Enduro battery can outlast me outside, which is all I can really ask for in terms of battery. Like it's great if it could last, we could say we want a battery that lasts like 4 hours outside at negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but I can't make it 4 hours outside at negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So like I don't need the battery to last that long either. So I'm loving this Enduro battery. Very excited about it. I don't really have problems with overheating because most of my clips are relatively short. Unless I'm talking to the camera while I'm outside, most of my clips are like 5 to 15 seconds long. And even though for the most of the time that I'm outside running, the camera's not on, so it's cold and like just, hitting the wind as I'm running, it's still able to fire up and function reliably, which is like a very important part of it too. So if you run in cold temperatures, get the Enduro battery for your GoPro Hero 10. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave it in the comment down below, or better yet, stop by the live stream I do Monday through Friday. I'm in the process of transferring the live streams. They've been on this channel. I might be switching it over to a Kofuzi Run Club channel, so it might be a separate channel, but I'll put a description in the link down below in terms of where you can go to catch the live streams that are Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. Before I go, I want to remind you guys about the charity runner of the week. This week it's Autumn King. She's going to be running the Chicago Marathon and raising money for the Alzheimer's Association. It is a charity that is near and dear to her heart. She's running the Chicago Marathon in honor of her grandmother, Margaret. So I've donated $100 of my money to her cause, and I would love it if you're getting any benefit from any of the videos that I make, if you could drop $1 to whatever the minimum amount is over on Autumn's page, and that way we can together show the world how much runners can do when we run together as a pack. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you're staying safe out there and warm out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?